I'm going to make this tiny Italian car look like it's absolutely flying, and I'll show you step by step exactly how I do it. So for this shot, we're going to use the Abarth 595, which is a version of the Fiat 500. We'll do a lap or two just to give us some replay footage that we can go in and start shooting with. And I'm just looking out for parts of the track or something that might make an interesting image. This signage here on the right, that could work, so I'm just going to drive close to that. That curbing right there that we just passed with the orange sausage curb, that's got potential. I'm just going to go wide here. Okay, that's a little mental note. Let's go back. I don't think I had enough time there, and I just spotted those colours. So you got this red, the white, and then the red and white curbing with obviously the red and white car. This might make something quite cool. Alright, I'm glad we did that. Okay, let's jump into the replay and see what sort of options we can pull out of this. Now, as always, we're in third person because it allows me to see the sort of where the light source is, and we're just going to keep an eye around the track to see if we can pick out anything that you might call a moment, which would be nice for an image. And as we picked up the first time we went around, here's this signage coming up on the right hand side, and now let's just pick up this shot here. Let's lock that off. So the first and most important thing with a shot like this is your shutter speed. If you want to create that feeling of speed, you have to use a low shutter speed. And I'm going to start with 1/8 of a second in this shot. So when the shutter opens for a longer time and you pan the image, that's what creates the blur. And because you're panning along with the car will remain in focus. Anything that's not moving with the car, it gets blurred out. So that's the idea with dropping the shutter speed. Panning mode is also the next and most important thing, and they all do the same thing but in different ways, but we're going to choose mode 3 for this shot. So I'm going to frame it like the car's moving downhill slightly to just elevate that sense of speed. Make sure we're focused. We can see the wisp and the trees. You've got that blur and the signage in the background. We've also got these sort of lines coming through the bottom portion. I think we can get something better. Okay, right here was another area that we identified. So we've got some detail on the signage behind. Got plenty of lines in front. Shoot this shot. It's not that good. Let's just move slightly. Lock this off, a slightly different angle. And we're going to zoom into the car. Now this time I'm going to leave the aperture f16 to get the most amount in focus, which should give us heaps of texture in that blur in the background and the foreground. Now that's not a great image, but it does demonstrate what zooming in does to a shot like that. So essentially when you zoom in, the subject or the background matter moves faster through the frame, so you can accentuate that feeling of speed. There's one more image that I think we can get out of this. So this was the sausage curb shot. Now I'm going to take this a little bit higher, or as high as I can get it. It should be enough. If we look at the hood of the car, not the hood, sorry, the roof of the car, and as we rotate the camera, you'll see that kind of gradient come across the top of the car. Right there, that is what I'm looking for. Focus in on the car. Apply a little bit of zoom. And I want to make sure that we keep the shadow and the car all in the same shot. I don't want to cut the shadow off. It's kind of part of the subject matter for me. But we'll take it as far as we can, still keeping that shadow on. And we've got some nice lines running through the entire image. We should get some decent texture with the motion blur on the track. Panning mode, again, mode 3, must remember that. Go through some of the effects that I normally apply. that's a cool shot. You see that sort of asymmetrical balance we've got here, because the shadow is forming part of the actual subject, which balances out with the kind of the weight of this side of the image. We're leaving some room for the car to move into. We've got heaps of texture with the motion blur. That was shot at 1/60th of a second. Let's take it back down to what we originally were looking at, which was kind of like the 1/4 to 1/8. We're going to go for 1/8. I'm hoping this is going to be the image that I was after. I think that's absolutely prime for editing. And there's one really subtle detail in there that I'm going to go over in the editing stage and when we deconstruct it. But I think this one is good to go. So we've got 5 images here that we are looking at. And there's only a couple that I can really say that I'm a fan of. And the first one being number 3. I think it's mainly the composition, the layout. And number 5, which I think achieves that sense of speed in the best way. But out of those 2 that we've got on the table here, I think that number 3 is the one that we're going to go for. Now this does look a little bit washed out, so the first thing I'm going to do is just increase those blacks a little bit. And the next thing is all about the gradients. Now I have done this before, but we'll show you again. We're going to use mainly linear gradients to help focus the attention on the car. So we'll pull that gradient in just along that top corner, and we'll drop the exposure down on that portion of the image. And then we'll create another linear gradient, and we'll do it from the opposite end. There's something else I want to do with this. I don't normally do it, but I want to punch color into this. And I think I want to put it in this top area here. So again, we're going to grab another gradient. I'll pull that down. And I'm going to utilize the red here. So I'm going to come down to the curves. I'm going to click on the red channel. And then I'm going to increase those reds. And I'm going to do this a long way to create this real sort of bright red effect on that top corner of the image. And from here, I'm going to quickly run through the rest of the minor adjustments I'm going to make to this image. I'm quite happy with the way this is looking right now. So let's open it into Photoshop and we'll deconstruct exactly why this works and doesn't work at the same time. So the first thing I'm looking at here, and the thing that I quite like about it, is the sense of speed, which was the whole idea of the video. And you can see that blur coming through every sort of straight line on the image. Not only that, we've left a large area for the car to move into. And along with that sense of speed, there are some nice lines flowing all the way through the image. And finally, with the overall composition, including this shadow was probably one of the best things that I did. And the image overall has got a kind of balanced sort of feel to it. From there, we've got this white line just on the outside of the curbing, which is pulling you through the actual subject. Now, I did allude to one little thing that I spotted when we shot this image. This is it here. When you look at the reflection and the bumper, we've got the red, green, and white. Now, those are obviously the 3 colours of the Italian flag, which is on an Italian car at an Italian track. And you can see those reflections there. You can see them on the front badge. I thought that was just a very lucky but a nice touch. Now, what could have made this image better? What should I have done differently? It's to do with the framing. I would have shot this at a slightly lower angle to get a little bit more of the side of the car and also have the roof just protrude into the top of that sort of orange or yellow sausage curb. So that's it. That is the favourite out of everything we shot today. And again, if there's any car or track combo that you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments.